Well, hey there. If you saw yesterday's video, you see it runs. So, to keep from inundating you with nothing but red car content in this whole 30 and 30 shenanigans thing I've got going on, I figured I'll answer a really good question that somebody left in the comment section. That is, what are the plans for the race car? Before I answer that, I'm going to give a little update on her race car and where we are. Still waiting on motor. That's where we are. My buddy still has the cylinder heads. He's still working on them. He had a problem with his air compressor, so he had to get some parts for it. Her brother has all the short block parts. He got the balance fixed. The balance was off. The wrist pins were too tight, so he clearanced that. He machined the main caps for the main stud girdle. So he's just waiting for me to bring him the rest of the stuff and for the cylinder heads to show up, and he can put a motor together for this. And, we'll have it ready for next year at the start of the year. Now the $1 million question. What are we doing with this? What are the plans? I don't know. I mean, that's just honest. I don't know. I really want to put a 445-inch Windsor in it. Aftermarket block, all aftermarket rotating, 15-degree cylinder heads, something that's going to make 800 horsepower and do it reliably. But unfortunately, every time I start to get money saved up where I can start thinking about doing that, life kicks me in the balls and says, no, you ain't. So, being fairly realistic, which I guess is the Iowa country boy in me that tends to look at stuff realistically, that's probably never going to happen. All right, so now what do? We sold all of our Cleveland stuff. I have a 4-inch stroke Windsor crank, a set of used GRP rods, roller cam, and a Victor Jr. intake for a Windsor, and a couple of stock blocks. I don't know anything about the crank. The GRP rods are used. When I built the motor for that car, the 408 originally, the machine shop I was using then told me it was a cast crank. Is that true? I don't know. I can't find a number on the crank. Given the sloppiness of the machine work they did, I don't know if it's true or if they just wanted to sell me a forged steel crank. And I bought one. So it might be a cast crank, it might be a forged crank, I don't know. So what do? We can take that crank, rods, cam, intake, take a stock block, have it machined, buy a set of $1,000 pistons and build a 408 and a set of 220 AFR cylinder heads for it, make 650, 675 with used rods in a crank that we don't know anything about, which puts us actually in worse shape than we were with all of our Cleveland stuff, because at least with our Cleveland stuff, with the 377, it had all of our billet rods in it, and it had a Crowler billet crank. It had good parts, and we had other spare parts in case we broke stuff. We could put something back together. So do we spend $6,000 putting a motor together that, we don't know how long it'll run. It might run forever and be perfectly fine. It might make 10 passes and the crank would break. I don't know. Do I want to spend $6,000 and end up in actually worse shape than I was with my Cleveland stuff? Not really. I don't have headers, and we already seen what a nightmare it was putting headers on this damn thing. So I don't know what to do with it. Selling it seems to be a viable option at this point, and just not race anymore. I know, folks just unsubscribed. But once again, the realist in me says we're probably not going to sell it yet. That's probably farther off down the road, but I don't know. I really don't know what to do at this point. It's not costing me anything sitting here. It's got a converter in it that's been rebuilt and it's got one burnout on it. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out this winter. I don't know. I'd like to go racing, but you know, until that point, we'll just keep fooling with this thing and foot brake it a little, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what to do with it. But I'm going to spray some paint on a hood scoop for that car. Anyway, thanks. See ya.